Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Read the translation of verse 8 and then recite the 9th verse. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Radha Rasbihari Lita Vishakha ji ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So this chapter, the 48th chapter, is titled Krishna Pleases His Devotees. Verse 8. Having thus gotten the heart to get Supreme Lord by the simple act of offering him body ointment, unfortunate Trivakra submitted to that Lord of freedom the following request. In the purport it is mentioned, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, Srimati Trivakra prayed to the Lord, please enjoy only with me and not with any other woman. Because Krishna was not prepared to grant such a benediction, Trivakra is described here as unfortunate. Sridhar Swami adds that although to ordinary eyes she seemed to beg for material pleasure, in fact she was a liberated soul at this point. So the verse that we will recite, verse 9. Sahodsyatamiha preshta Deenani kati chinmaya Ramasva notsahetyaktum Sangam tembuhu kekshana. Sahosyatamiha preshta Deenani kati chinmaya Ramasva notsahetyaktum Sangam tembu ruhekshana. Sahosyatamiha preshta Deenani kati chinmaya Ramasva notsahetyaktum Sangam tembu hurekshana. Sangam tembu hurekshana. Sahosyatamiya preshta Deenani kati chinmaya Svajatadeyaktum Sangam teham burukshana. Matajis. Sahosyatamiha preshta Deenani kati chinmaya Ramasva no sahetyaktum Sangam temburu hekshana. What for meaning? Saha, together. Usyatam, please stay. Iha, here. Preshtha, O beloved. Deenani, days. Katichit, some. Maya, with me. Ramasva, please take pleasure. Na utsahe, I cannot tolerate. Tyaktum, giving up. Sangam, association. Te, your. Buruha ikshana, O lotus-eyed one. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki. Trivakra said, O beloved, please stay here with me for a few days more and enjoy. I cannot bear to give up your association, O lotus-eyed one. Purport. The word Ambu means water and Ruha means rising. Thus, Ambu Ruha means the lotus flower which rises up from the water. Lord Krishna is called Amburu Hekshana, the lotus-eyed one. He is the source and embodiment of all beauty, and naturally Trivakra was attracted to him. However, the Lord's beauty is spiritual and pure, and his intention was not to gratify himself with Trivakra, but rather to bring her to the point of pure spiritual existence, Krishna consciousness. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahityam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaye Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojjvala Premadhyay Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namastute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virud Apa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambode Padambujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravirbhava Bhumestvam Nirdesta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathayate Namaha Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha Tanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo nama Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namne gauratvishi namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam bhaktarupa swarupakam Bhaktavatara bhaktakhyam namami bhakta shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarvasya Padam Bhojau Radha Madana Mohanau Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimad Ratnagarasya Masanastau Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshtalibi Sevyamana Usmarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshi Vatattatastitau Karshan Venu Swaner Gopi Gopinata Shri Estunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in the last two lectures on this chapter, since this chapter started, we heard that this chapter basically deals with two things. One is Kubja's desires, Trivakra's desires, and Krishna satisfying her or also purifying her desires. And second is Krishna and Balaram meeting Akrura, Akrura glorifying them with suitable prayers, and then Krishna sending Akrura to Hastinapur to inquire about the Pandavas, because he's saying, I will come there. So, how are they doing? Go and take their message. Their father has died, they are in difficulty. Please inquire and get back to me. Now, this particular pastime can be misinterpreted. It can be questioned by people, just like people question how come Krishna had so many wives. It can be considered immoral by some. In fact, one of the acharyas jokingly says, when Krishna was entering, if you remember few chapters back, when Krishna was entering Mathura, so at that time he saw Kubja, and then he's asking her, oh beautiful one, what is your name? Where are you from? So the acharyas write, one of them writes, what was the need of asking these questions? आपसे कुछ लेना देना है क्या? You go, you have come to kill Kamsa, you go kill Kamsa, do your business. Why you want to talk to all these girls? And then of course the acharyas describe that these are not ordinary dealings. We understand that every living entity is Prakriti and Krishna is the only Purusha. So Krishna is the only enjoyer. And everyone is meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. Krishna says in the Gita, Apareya sitastvanyam prakritim middhi me param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. That all living entities, they are my internal energy, my internal potency. So all energy of Krishna. So in the first canto, first chapter, in one of the purports, when Prabhupada is establishing, I think it's the first verse only, where it is established that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada writes that people question this 16,000 wives, 16,108 wives. But my question is, Krishna only married 16,000 queens. Krishna is only marrying, Prabhupada is writing, Krishna is only marrying 16,000 queens. Whereas everyone is actually meant to be enjoyed by him. So whatever we are trying to enjoy, it is just borrowed from Krishna. Otherwise it's all, so therefore there is no problem when Krishna wants to satisfy the desires of Trivakra or anyone else, all of us also. So, but Krishna also does these kind of pastimes for a certain section of society who don't want to believe him. And for them they can cite this and say, oh, immoral God. No, no, no. What does he say in the Gita? Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samanvita mudaham na abhijanati lokomam ajam avyayam. I am ajam. No. But people don't know me. And for such people who want to forget me or don't want to believe in me, Yoga Maya Samanvita. Because of my potency of Yoga Maya, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. I am not seen by such people. I am not revealed to such people. So Krishna does some of these things also to bewilder certain sections of atheists who don't want to believe in Krishna or who want to continue their immoral activities and cite that, oh, anyway, even Krishna is doing it. But here the point is that it's not Kubja's fault, it's not Trivakra's fault that she wants to enjoy with Krishna. Krishna is all attractive. The word Krishna means all attractive. So if Krishna is all attractive, a genuine soul will get attracted by him. We see on so many levels how Krishna is attractive. Krishna's teachings are so attractive. At the end, Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra, Adbhuta Roma Harshanam. These teachings are Adbhut, they are so great, they are divine. The hair on my body is standing on it. So Krishna's teachings are attractive. Krishna says, Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam. That this is the king of knowledge. So Krishna's teachings are the highest teachings, and anything which is the best is attractive. Krishna's dealings with his devotees are attractive. Bhishma Dev in the first canto, while talking to Yudhishthir Maharaj, Krishna sent Yudhishthir Maharaj, he said, I cannot solve your predicament. Go to Bhishma. Bhishma will help. Krishna wants to always glorify his devotees. So Bhishma Dev tells Krishna, actually, he tells Yudhishthir Maharaj, actually Krishna's dealings are so great that we cannot but be in wonder. We cannot logically understand. At one point you have to just be in wonder of those teachings. Bhishma gives the example that Krishna is like an expert chess player. Now, an expert chess player, you have Vishwanathan, no? The Vishwanathan Anand, India's best chess player. So, an expert chess player, how many of us know how to play chess? An expert chess player knows 5-6 moves ahead what he or she is going to do. They will calculate, uske baad ye, uske baad wo, 5-6 moves ahead. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that similarly Krishna is an expert chess player. He's 10 moves ahead in our lives. We may think of today, we may think of tomorrow, we may think of few months or couple of years later, I want to do this, I want to be like this. Even in devotional service, we may have our plans. But Krishna has our plans way ahead than we have. And so that is very attractive, that Krishna knows me better than I. Queen Kunti, she is praying to Krishna when Krishna is leaving that, now that my son is on the throne, you are leaving. Till now, whenever in life we had a difficulty, we had a problem, you were always there. Your dealings are so attractive that we don't have to worry about anything. So better, let more problems come so that you can deal more in our life. So Krishna's dealings are attractive. Then Krishna's holy name is attractive. Our heart ultimately gets purified by this holy name. Mahaprabhu asks his spiritual master, Kiba mantra dilo gosai, Kiba tara bal, Japati Japati mantra, Karelo pagal. I'm going crazy chanting this. What is this you have given me? No? People, all of us come with so much baggage of anarthas, of problems. And we are given first day, chant Hare Krishna. The holy name is so attractive that gradually we get purified. Krishna's holy name is attractive. Krishna's creation is attractive. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad urjitam evava tattadevava gachatvam mama tejo amsha sambhava. Krishna is saying all this creation of mine. Beautiful mountains, beautiful rivers, beautiful waterfalls, beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunset. Krishna is saying, Mama tejo amsha sambhava. This is just from my amsha, one small particle of my energies. But it is so attractive. People go Switzerland, people go here and there to marvel in the natural beauty. Yeah, that will be far more attractive than going to Dubai and seeing artificial beauty. Natural beauty is any day more attractive. It's just a spark of Krishna's energies. Then Krishna's mercy is attractive. When Sukadev Goswami came out at the age of 16 and saw left and right and saw, I don't want to be here, just started walking, walked away. At that time, Vyasdev sent his disciples. And one verse that they recited was that, Aho Bakiyam Stana Kalakutam, that Krishna is so merciful that this lady Putana, who was actually a demon, who smeared poison on her breast to kill Krishna, Krishna saw it as, oh, but actually who wants to feed a child, a mother? Who wants to breastfeed a child, a mother? So removed all the other things and just took that one good quality and gave her all mercy. Krishna's mercy is attractive. In fact, Kaviraj Goswami says, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karoho Vichar. When we think of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Vichar Korite Chitta Pabe Chamatkar. It is attractive. It is wonderful, Krishna's mercy. So Krishna's mercy is attractive. And ultimately, Krishna's devotees are attractive. Krishna is attracted to his devotees. So in this way, Krishna is all attractive. There are so many points we can say on the attraction of Krishna. So here, this fortunate lady is getting attracted by Krishna. It's not her fault. It's Krishna's fault. Krishna is attractive. So she's getting attracted. But what is she doing with that? She's offering some service. When Krishna entered Mathura and he saw Kamsa's dhobi, and he had all these wonderful clothes that he was washing and he was drying that belonged to Kamsa and his royal court. So Krishna and Balaram thought, okay, now that we are in Mathura, we should also dress up nicely. We are wearing dhoti. So they asked him, and as Rasraj Prabhu described last class, they didn't give. So better than an expert kung fu master, he just touched the dhobi's neck and neck got severed. Why? Because the dhobi was feeling scared. Main de dunga, Kamsa will get on my case. Same thing when Kubja came, she had that sandalwood pulp. Krishna looked at it. She knew that if I apply this to Krishna, I could get into trouble. Kamsa will probably execute me for it. But she took that risk. So not only did she get attracted by Krishna's beauty, she acted on that attraction by wanting to do something for Krishna, even though that thing was risky. She applied sandalwood pulp ointment on Krishna. And this same chapter in Krishna book, Prabhupada writes that simply by putting this sandalwood pulp on Krishna, Kubja satisfied Krishna. Krishna was satisfied because he saw that she is going out of her way to serve me and she could get into trouble for it. She could lose her life for this. And in spite of knowing that, without hesitation, she is serving me. And Krishna was satisfied. But she was not satisfied. She had some desires. So now Krishna is coming back to fulfill her desire. So devotees are willing to take risks to satisfy Krishna, to serve Krishna. So we get attracted because Krishna is all attractive. Akarshana iti Krishna, he's the one who is the most attractive. But then it doesn't end there. Then devotees engage in devotional service to serve Krishna, even if it means taking some risk. We're reading this, the Jew story book. One of the heroes of that book is our dear Mr. P.L. Sethi. So Prabhupada saw that he is into construction and Prabhupada wanted that this temple be built and he wanted that apartments and residences are built for his devotees. So when we all know, when they came to demolish the temple outside and it was on a weekend, somehow they got to stay till Monday. And Prabhupada, they were advised that 2.5 दिन है, Friday night, Saturday and Sunday. How much ever we can make, let's make. So that on Monday morning, we'll go to a judge and he'll see again a temple is made somewhat. He may not object. And so Mr. Sethi and his son, they were standing there making sure the construction is happening. He was a construction worker. And so the goons came and said, what? Tonight, when you sleep, we will break everything again. Or we'll injure all of you also. So, how many goons do you have? He asked Mr. Sethi. And he said, 200. He said, at least you bring 300 because I have 300 bullets. And then he told, bring my revolver. And for 2 nights he stood there, protecting so that this construction got made. And on a Monday morning, the judge said, whatever is made now. You cannot demolish. So he took that risk. He took that risk to satisfy Prabhupada, who was trying to satisfy Krishna. And how was he rewarded? Kubja was rewarded here by Krishna's personal association, by Krishna's touch. Sethi was rewarded. Prabhupada told him, you are building houses for my devotees. I know Krishna, I will build a house for you in Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world. After a pure devotee says this, whatever else happens in that person's life, their life is glorious because they've served by taking a risk. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Sri Radha Rasbihari Rita Vishakha ji ki, Shri Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So just on this topic of risk, we can discuss so many pastimes of so many devotees. One of them is Brahmananda Prabhu. So once a man came challenging, Prabhupada, it is okay, you're preaching in India, that's fine. America and all is fine. What about Muslim countries? Prabhupada said, yes, we will go. Then Prabhupada, where you want us to go? Pakistan. Okay, we will go. Prabhupada looked, pehle kaun dikh raha hai? Okay, Brahmananda Garga Muni. Go, East Pakistan, West Pakistan. Like that, Prabhupada has many such instances where he does that. Once on a train, one man was arguing and it was not in the north, reaching Delhi. And finally he got convinced. And so Prabhupada asked him, so you're from Delhi, help make a temple in Delhi. He said, yes, Swamiji, I have some land. Prabhupada said, okay, immediately we will go. Next station is Delhi. Kaun dikha samne? Okay, Tejas Prabhu, go, get down. जो भी बैग था लेके जाओ, दिल्ली में मंदिर बनाओ. Similarly, Yamuna Mataji and Gurudas Prabhu, reaching Vrindavan, okay, get down, go establish something in Vrindavan. People used to take risks. Once Tamal Krishna Maharaj came to Prabhupada and said, we go to all these cities and all these temple presidents are saying, don't come to our temple because you're taking our devotees on Sankirtan and they're getting attracted. Prabhupada, where should I go? Should I go to China? Prabhupada said, that is a good idea. Go. So Brahmananda Prabhu sent to West Pakistan, which is now actual Pakistan, and his brother was sent to East Pakistan. And just some time later, the India-Pakistan war broke. Brahmananda Prabhu, when he used to go out to preach, people used to come in front of him and gather some saliva and spit on his face. They used to slap him. They used to, leave dogs on him. And in spite of all this, he continued preaching there. Then when Prabhupada heard that the war is intensifying and there was a fake news. Fake news is not new, it's going on. So there was a fake news that 2 Hare Krishna devotees, Americans, have been killed. So Prabhupada got very, very anxious. Sent a message, immediately call them back. And so when they came, Brahmananda Prabhu describes that there were other devotees. It's actually here in Juhu when Brahmananda Prabhu came, and he describes that there were other devotees. As soon as Prabhupada saw me, he told all of them to leave. He closed the door and then he embraced me and then he started touching me just like a mother would do for a child, or we can see cows doing for calves. He's touching me, he's smelling my head, he's kissing me, he's hugging me. Reciprocation. Later on, that same Brahmananda Prabhu, whenever he would talk about Prabhupada, you must have all seen Brahmananda Prabhu's photograph or his videos. Bulky man, 6 feet 5 inches, I don't know, to 150 kgs, big man. Whenever he would talk about Prabhupada, halfway through a pastime he would break down. So once in 26 2nd Avenue, this is in the 90s, he was describing Prabhupada's pastimes. One person asked him, it seems you have so much love for Prabhupada that for you Prabhupada is God. So then Brahmananda Prabhu corrected him, no, our philosophy is not that. The spiritual master is as good as God. He's not God, he's as good as God. And then he thought for a minute. And he said, but you know what? As I'm aging, I know that Prabhupada is not God, but I've come to the realization that he's better than God. Because God didn't come to New York City to save me. Prabhupada did. So this risk which he took for Prabhupada, Krishna rewarded him. So much love he had for the pure devotee. So much love that, that's it. Your back to Godhead is guaranteed. And the person who all of them are attracted to, Srila Prabhupada, how many risks he took? Unlimited risks he took to satisfy Krishna. Here Kubja is taking the risk of Kamsa might kill me. The number of risks that Prabhupada took. Prabhupada alone, first of all, he left everything and tried to fulfill the order of his spiritual master, write books. He had no help. He winded up his business, took that risk, took Vanaprastha, no help, started writing, started collecting, distributing himself, going to the printer himself in the heat of Delhi, getting heat strokes, falling down. In the Lilamrit that's mentioned once, Prabhupada was so busy in distributing the books that he didn't realize a bull came and just, smashed him. And Prabhupada went rolling and fell on the ground. Think this much is enough, but no. At the age of 70, old man leaves Vrindavan, takes a risk, goes on a boat, has 2 heart attacks. Someone will think, I tried. 2 दिन बाद ये ship वापस जाएगा. I'll go back. Stayed and continued. The amount of risks that Prabhupada took to build this temple, to build the Vrindavan temple, the whole movement. So devotees take risks for Krishna because Krishna is very, very attractive. And because of these risks, then Krishna becomes attractive to them. Krishna gets attracted to them. Then all these qualities. Now Kubja here is having lust. She wants Krishna to satisfy her lust. But just by this process of serving Krishna, Krishna purifies her lust. There was one disciple of Prabhupada in 1968 or 69, wrote to Prabhupada that, Srila Prabhupada, whenever you're in our city, I feel very safe and protected. But as soon as you leave, I feel that these anarthas are overcoming me. Especially my biggest problem is lust. And Prabhupada replied to her letter. It's there in the Veda base. Prabhupada said, if you just continue this process of serving Krishna, if you just continue this process of Krishna consciousness which I have given, Lust, Mr. Lust's father or Mr. Lust's grandfather, nobody will be able to trouble you. It sounds better in Hindi. Lust, uska baap, uske baap ka baap bhi aapka kuch bigadega nahi. If you continue serving Krishna, if you continue this process, Prabhupada told her. So, all these devotees, even if they had some ulterior motive to serve Krishna, ultimately by the process of taking some risk or giving some endeavor to serve Krishna, they get purified. We hear from Bhagavatam the story of Dhruv Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj took that one good instruction from his mother that if you want a kingdom greater than your father, you have to go to the forest and worship the Lord. So he went there with that intention of getting a kingdom greater than his father. But when Krishna came in front of him, he said, I was praying for broken pieces of glass where a diamond is standing in front of me now. Completely purified. So in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned, Bhakti Pareshanu Bhava Viraktir Anyatra Chesta Trika Eka Kalam Prapadyamanasya Yathasnatasri Tushti Pushti Shud Apayo Nughasam. That Prapadyamanasya, when you take shelter of Krishna, three things happen. Bhakti, devotion arises. Pareshanubhava, you get perception of the Lord, you get direct audience with the Lord, or you can interact with the Lord. And Viraktir, detachment. These three things automatically come when a person starts the process of devotional service, just like Tushti, Pushti, Shud, Apayo, Nugasam. Just like when a person puts food in his mouth, three things happen. Tushti, person is satisfied. Pushti, a person is nourished. And Shud, Apayo, his hunger is gone. So just like that, by taking shelter of Krishna, all the other ulterior motives and desires that a person may have will go away. Kechit kevalya bhakta vasudeva prayana agham dhunvanti karshnaya nihara eva bhaskara. Just like when the sun rises, fog gets dissipated. Similarly, when a person takes to Krishna consciousness, takes to devotional service, automatically sin and everything associated with that goes away. So the Acharyas write, couple of purports later, that although Kubja, here it's mentioned that she was unfortunate, that she had audience with Krishna, but she wanted him to satisfy her lusty desires. But Krishna, it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, even if a person approaches Krishna with ulterior motives, Krishna makes arrangement to satisfy that person as well as to purify that person's motives. So when Krishna entered, and she had decorated everything very nicely. In Krishna book, Prabhupada describes this very nicely. You can all read that. This 48th chapter in Krishna book, Prabhupada describes in detail. And he says that she decorated everything very nicely. The house was very nicely decorated. And she decorated herself very nicely. And then she had a washing pot to wash Krishna's feet and welcome him. So as soon as she touched Krishna's feet and was washing Krishna's feet, her lusty desires got purified. Just by that, just by audience of Krishna and touching Krishna, her lusty desires got purified. Krishna still satisfied her, but not in the mundane sense that a person would think. Person would think such affairs are, just between two people of the opposite sex. But here, Krishna is not satisfying that kind of desire. He is ultimately satisfying the desire that every soul has, which is to be a servant of Krishna. It is just these impurities which are covering that. And by her taking risk and trying to satisfy Krishna's desires, Krishna purified her. And so the acharyas, in the purport, it's written after a couple of verses. Ultimately, the ending was good. The intention was not good, but the ending was good because Krishna purified her. There is this very nice pastime. We were recently in Hyderabad, and in Hyderabad there is this fort. In that fort, there was the prison of the king. And in the prison, he had actually imprisoned one very great devotee of Lord Ram. His name was Gopanna, who was later also called Sri Ramadasu, servant of Lord Ram. So this Gopanna was from a village called Bhadrachalam. And from the beginning, he was an ardent devotee of Lord Ram. When he grew up, he would spend all the money of his parents in the worship of Lord Ram, in holding festivals of Lord Ram, in distributing Annadanam, all these things. So his parents used to perpetually remain poor because of this fellow's, ardent desire to do charity. So after he got married, now because he was a devotee, so he was also truthful, he was also honest, he was also very sincere. So the king made him the tax collector of that whole district. He was a tax collector. So he got very good quarters and he was staying there as the tax collector. One day it so happened that he came across a place where he found these very beautiful deities of Sita, Ram and Lakshman being worshipped in a forest by one elderly lady. And he saw, and it was so attractive, the deities were so attractive, he immediately got very, enamored by them. And that lady told him that, actually, Lord Ramachandra is very unfortunate. Why? Like, when he was here, he performed so many austerities in the forest. The son of the king, but he performed so many austerities in the forest. But for some reason, again now he has come to me, and unfortunately he is still performing austerities in the forest. So I want to build a magnificent temple for him, but I am a poor old lady, what can I do? So her devotion touched him. So from that day he thought, okay, by Lord Ram's mercy I have some position, so let me try and make this temple for Lord Ram. And from that day, he and his wife, they moved from the government quarters, nice palatial quarters, and they also went and resided under a tree. Just like Lord Ramachandra's deity was there under a tree. And now because he was the tax collector, everyone used to respect him. So now instead of just collecting tax for the king, he started going with a begging bowl and telling everyone, singing Lord Ram's glories and telling everyone that, please offer some alms, we will build a magnificent temple. Like recently also people were going, collecting money to build the Ram temple in Ayodhya. So people started giving and they gave and they gave, and he didn't want to build an ordinary temple. He wanted to build a magnificent, ornate, wonderful temple for Lord Ramachandra. So like that, he and his wife would, go from one place to the other, singing Lord Ram's glories and begging alms. Like this for many years they did. And they collected 7 lakh gold coins. Now this is long time ago. And then he wrote to the king that I have collected this much. I wish to build a temple of Lord Ram. You please give me your permission. Unfortunately, there were some envious people who were very envious of his being a honest, efficient person. So they tore that letter. They didn't allow it to go to the king. He waited for some time. Afterwards he thought, okay, fine. King may have read it, may not have thought it appropriate to reply to me. Let us start making the temple. And eventually he built this wonderful temple of Lord Ram. And Lord Sita, Ram, Lakshman were worshipped there with pomp, with glory. This news went to the king. Those envious people went and gave this knowledge to the king. And they said, you know how he built the temple? He has stolen the government's money. He went to everyone saying, Raja ko tax do. But instead of giving you that tax, he spent the money on making the temple. King got very angry, called him, asked him. He said, no, I sent you the letter. He said, what letter? I didn't get any letter. You're a thief. The king, so he said, how dare you call me a thief? Even if I used your money, what is the harm? Ultimately, who is Allah? It's Lord Ramachandra. I built a temple for him. All this money, all this kingdom of yours ultimately belongs to him. So what is the problem? So the king got even more angry. Mohammedan king. He said, put him in the torture chamber and torture him till he admits that he stole my money. Keep torturing him till he does that. Or till he arranges for the 6 lakh gold coins to be returned back. Torturing him. And all the time he's just glorifying Lord Ram. Taking risk. He went on his own, collected all this money, knew that, my master is a Mohammedan king, may not appreciate a temple of Lord Ram, but still took this risk because of his attraction for Lord Ram and made this temple. And he's being whipped and beaten. There was rods with barbed wires, putting it in his body, turning it around and then removing it. Very ghastly. And all the while he's praying, Lord, you are the protector of the devotees. Where are you now? You told Vibhishan, Sakrideva prapannoya stavasmiti chayachade abhayam sarvada tasmai dadam etam vritam mama. You said that anyone who once says, Lord, I am yours, from that day I award them fearlessness, courage. Ultimately I bring them to me. Was that only for Vibhishan? Where are you now? Itna meko torture ho raha hai. I've been beaten up. Where are you? And then what he did is, in his torture chamber, in that jail, he took some rocks and on the jail wall, he carved the form of Sita, Ram and Lakshman. And then every day, while getting beaten and while getting whipped, while being fed rotten food, he used to worship them. And then he started composing various verses and poems in glory of Lord Ram. So then he writes that, Lord, in one of his poems in this different mood, he writes, Lord, this temple I built for you, you know how much it cost? It cost 6 lakh gold coins. You think Dashrath left that money for you? No. How do you think it came? This garland of jewels which you are wearing, it cost 10,000 gold coins. It did not come from Ayodhya. Sita Maya is wearing this wonderful silk dress. कहाँ से आया पैसा? मैं लेके आया और उसके return में you are enjoying with all that and I am getting whips. I am getting tortured. What is this? Like that he composed poems in Telugu. Finally, Lord Ram thought, okay, enough now. I have, my pure devotee has gone through enough. And before he composes any further poems criticizing me, let me relieve him of his situation. So Lord Ram and Lakshman personally come there. And they give 6 lakh gold coins to the king. They actually come in the king's dream. And the king wakes up. And then he's, Arey, dream tha, 6 lakh gold coins ka acha dream dekha. And then he sees, and those coins are there. And he gets astonished. And then he calls his ministers in the night. Come, see. So all the guards are there. The doors are closed. The palace is locked from inside. Who came? And when the ministers checked, they saw, Lord, this is not ordinary gold coins. These have the emblem of Lord Ram. These are gold coins from Treta Yuga. They are 10 times more valuable than the gold that is currently there. So then his ministers told him, this has to be the work of the Lord. So then this fellow also, whatever he was, ultimately realized. And he thought, my God, I was so fortunate that I got darshan of the Lord. The Lord came to me. And then, of course, he goes, begs forgiveness from Gopanna, Sri Ramadasu, releases him. At that time, he composes one more poem. He says, मेहनत मैंने किया, टॉर्चर मुझे हुआ, डिवोटी मैं हूं और दर्शन King ko diya. What is this, Lord? Why didn't you come to me? You gave darshan to him, but you didn't give darshan to me. My life is useless. And then he decides, okay, I will end my life. Then the Lord comes and the Lord reveals himself to him. And the Lord blesses that, he glorifies that temple. And he says, anyone who visits this temple in Bhadrachalam and takes darshan of my forms there, I will make them devotees. I will purify them. And they will become, devotees like you. So, the whole point of this section is that even if a person has ulterior motives or some other desires, if they take risks to serve the Lord, if they take risks to satisfy the Lord, Lord not only satisfies them, but He also purifies them, and ultimately pure devotional services are awarded to them. And this is what attracts the Lord the most. So we can learn this from this pastime of Kubja, how Krishna performs these pastimes. 1, to show that everything belongs to Him. 2, to bewilder these people who don't want to believe in Him. Therefore, He does certain of these activities. But ultimately, He is all attractive. People cannot but get attracted by Him. We discussed all these wonderful attractive qualities of Krishna. And then we discussed how it's not just enough to be attracted by the Lord, but then devotees go out of their way to serve the Lord. They take risks to serve the Lord. And in this way, they become attractive to the Lord. And then the Lord not only satisfies their desires, but He purifies their desires so that they can become pure devotees of the Lord. And we discussed how Srila Prabhupada has shown us the best example of taking risks for the pleasure of the Lord. Hare Krishna. So, are there any questions, comments, corrections? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful lecture. So, at the start, you had mentioned that Krishna actually made the first advances in terms of striking a conversation with Kubja. And then you said these are not ordinary dealings, right? So, in that regard, can you please explain, like, why did he do that, or why did he speak to her?
So, Krishna knows the heart of his devotees. So, he gives everyone a chance. He gave a chance to that washerman also, but the washerman didn't take it. He gave a chance to her, she took it. That mood is exemplified by Lord Chaitanya, trying to give everyone a chance to come, trying to give everyone a chance to serve. Prabhupada said, if you take it, it is to your credit. It's your glory. So, anything else? Okay. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, समवेत भक्त वृंद की, जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।